Hello. Nah, that's bad.
Title card.
Hello, welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
And my name is DJ Wooldridge.
Welcome. Let's talk about Doom Patrol, may we?
Please, and
DC
thank
Universe's hit TV show.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It is.
The most hit.
I know. I read online that Titans was technically more popular. Yeah.
I like Titans, but Doom Patrol's amazing.
Doom Patrol's... And hey, that still stays the same with Season 1, Episode 9, Jane Patrol. That's a new episode, gang. Make sure you go watch it, then come back here and watch our review, because we're filled with spoilers, baby boys and girls.
We're going to spoil the whole gosh darn thing.
The synopsis, here it goes.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Jane retreats into the underground, a treacherous place deep within her mind space, where she encounters her many personas and dark traumas of her past.
I'm going to throw this out there. I don't want any part of my mind to be described as treacherous. The place where my consciousness lives shouldn't be treacherous. I don't like that.
There's quite a few boys and girls hanging out down there.
There are. And what's interesting is if you've been following our reviews and our discussions, we know that Jane has 64 distinct personalities, each with their own abilities. But when we head into her mind space in this episode, they are primarily played by different actors.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
There's a few people that are played by Jane, but I like the idea of it being played by different people too, like that fully embody who that person is. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you have the time to shoot Diane that way.
Yeah. There was some logistical stuff. I will say I kind of wish they'd stuck to, like, literally everybody's played by a different actor, because the fact that some of them look like her and some don't, I was like, what? But I will say with some of them, like, you see Hammerhead, you're like, I get it. Yeah. I know we've had some issues with Hammerhead on this show, but once you see the quote-unquote actual Hammerhead, you're like, I get it. I see what's going on here.
Overall, this was a fun episode as well. If you guys watch my reviews for this, I always give it about 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I'm giving this one 9 out of 10.
Oh, right out of the gate. Oh, wait, spoilers.
Spoilers up top. I really enjoyed this episode. This show's done a really good job focusing on the characters, each character individually, and seeing what they mean to each other. Cliff and Jane's relationship, that father-daughter relationship, and how Cliff's trying to understand what that means for her. Yeah. Because he just was trying to be nice and trying to, in a way, make up for how he treated his daughter and not being there for her. Yeah. But at the same time, Jane, I mean, it's kind of connecting to him that way, whether she wants to or not, she is.
Yeah, because it's safe to say, has a conflicted relationship with father figures in general. And
so far, what we've seen throughout many episodes, is any kind of negative or violent action that Cliff takes towards someone else, it has Jane's viewed it as something very negative towards herself, and she's trying to protect herself. But also Cliff in the 2 episodes ago said something pretty messed up to Jane.
But like he says, he had a rat in his nutrient tank.
He did. He had a rat in his brain, running around pitter-pattering.
What's really cool is I thought this was a great opportunity to unpack Jane some more, which I know has been a character that Roxy in particular, unfortunately she's not here with us today, has had questions about. And then we get to unpack some of that. But also, this is a great opportunity to see Brendan Fraser actually portray Cliff Steele, which is really cool. Like, it's really nice to see Brendan Fraser be Brendan Fraser, and the kind of like the gravity he brings to the role. Like, he brings a humanity in his voice work to Cliff Steele, but also in the physicality of the character. And it's just, I like having Brendan Fraser on my TV screen.
100% agree. One critique we had, or Roxy and I, for the most part, mainly me, but I couldn't tell where Jane started and like Hammerhead began.
Yes.
Or what ended began.
And I struggled with that a couple of episodes back too.
Yeah, I was like, wait, Jane can get mad and upset, but then Hammerhead's the one that is angry. So it's hard to tell. And sometimes, I'll be honest, we're getting comments about this. I just now noticed that Hammerhead has like the chest tattoo.
Same.
And like they're like, no, that's been there from the beginning. I'm like, I didn't see when that happened.
As well.
So hey, not saying it wasn't there, just we didn't notice it until later. So it was hard to tell who is Jane exactly in this cornucopia of personalities. And this episode did such a good job making it clear that that's Jane.
Yeah.
Jane is just as confused as you as to what her situation is, but she respects it. That there is there's a hierarchy, but also it's community. Also, it's something more complicated.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And
to
so
deal with.
the fact that she is as put together as we've seen so far makes sense.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that like Jane just doesn't want to come out. Like she's like, but everyone. I like the idea though the personalities aren't fighting to get out. They want to come out sometimes. Like some of them want to, some of them don't. Some of them just want to stay there.
Because it's made very clear they serve a function. So they're ready. Hammerhead's ready to go when it's her time to shine, and Penny Farthing's there when she, you know what I mean? Like when it's time for their function to be served, they're there. Otherwise, Jane, you got to go. And this is the one time because after the events of last week, Karen was supposed to get married. And that kind of went sideways for a variety of reasons. But
I will say, shout out to Karen. Big fan of that personality. Really scary. Really like her though.
Yeah, and so now there's debate there. All the other personalities are like, Jane, it's your turn, and she just, like you said, she just doesn't want to go. So there's a train to get to the outside, and she pulls the emergency lever, and then they're trying to figure out, she's comatose. They're trying to figure out how to get to her. And the negative spirit, once again, there to save the day. Negative spirit is one of the MVPs on the show, comes out and connects Robotman's brain to Jane's brain. And Cliff is able to enter her subconscious.
Plot reasons.
Something I will say, this is kind of jumping ahead, when they come back, Cyborg and Rita are like, oh, what? There's like stuff scattered on the floor, and Cliff's like, what happened? He's like, long story. So I'm hoping like next episode kind of like
deals with whatever that is.
And it'd be cool if it was like a whole big crazy adventure while they're stuck in the.
I hope it's something Mr. Nobody related. So it's just like, because I feel like this show does a good job balancing the Mr. Nobody stuff and the side adventures.
Yes.
And so if it's like, that just those two, just Rita and Cyborg had to go up against Mr. Nobody, that would be really interesting. Also, the relationship for them, the way they've been building out, and like how they're growing together, I really appreciate that. But they're not the stars of this episode. It's Cliff and Jane. So Jane's other personalities are very interesting. We get to meet a lot of them. Some of them don't need to talk. Some of them are the manifestations of certain personalities we've seen, like Silvertongue. We've seen Silvertongue before, where normally it's just Jane who just got into some spray paint. Jane, put it down. Jane, don't eat that. Don't do that. But now we have to see what she looks like in her head.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my best with as many personalities as I can. I don't remember who the electric one is, but she looks really cool because she looks like a blue demon or like an underwater creature that's walking around down there. We also meet the nun and the secretary.
The nun's horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want the nun to ever come out.
I'm not a fan. Also, the one that teleports whenever it's getting antsy, she is there in the background as well. Flit. We also meet a scarecrow personality who's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Karen's like, oh, don't worry about her. And then she gives... the scarecrow gives Cliff a shank, and they're all in this like cell in the brain. You're like, what? Yeah. And then there's the sisters, which are like the triple goddess
and based on
Jane's brain.
What I read, at least on the quickie Wikipedia research, that is basically the whole personality. There's nothing else. It's three personalities kind of like melded into a mess.
Cool.
And that's what that is. And it weirdly like feeds on it tricks other personalities to go into the well where it can be like tortured and stuff. That's
not great.
That's what I got from the episode. Was that it's like basically turning him towards the well, and the well is a place you do not want to go.
So maybe the sisters represent the idea of forcing you to confront some of your trauma. And before Jane, the prior like main personality didn't turn out great for her. And she basically is gone and has become a torture room.
And we do learn more about her dad. Exploring this is exploring Jane's origin. And
shocker, he's not a good person.
No, he's not. He's very gross. But I think for the most part, the way they handled how they were going to show that on screen, I think they did a good job for portraying it, because I don't think he didn't need any violence, he didn't need any more any implications or anything like that. Like we got it. Yeah. We got it, and you did exactly what you needed to, and especially the manifestation in her brain as this big monster, and especially when it comes to the puzzle pieces. Yeah. That was really cool the way they brought that to life. But at the same time, we're getting a story with Cliff, and we're getting how he just perceives himself. Yeah. So when he enters this mind space, he perceives himself as a human being still. Yeah. And he's not.
No.
he is in a more positive way. He is a brain in a jar.
Yeah.
And he is not the way that those
with a nutrient tank.
With a nutrient tank, he's got that stuff.
Yeah.
Rats can get in there, so you gotta be careful. That's so weird. Love it though.
Yeah.
But in the episode where we dealt with the Book of the Unwritten and the Decreator, we meet these beings that are able to change the perception of their own world. Yeah. So we see that there is a way of looking at Cliff that's just a brain in a jar, but it's more than that though. Yeah. He is not that, but he's also not Cliff Steele anymore.
No.
You can call him Cliff if you want to. You don't have to call him Robotman because that's just for the comic book nerds.
Yeah.
But he isn't who he was before. And also, from his point of view and what we learn, he wasn't the worst guy in the world, but he's not a great guy either. So if you want to be better than that, him coming to terms with that's who you were before and this is who you can be now, and it's going to be scary because you're not able to interpret the world you used to the way you used to with the same senses and everything, but you can still be something that people can look up to and that you can be proud of.
Yes, 100%. And so him dealing with what he could be to Jane and what Jane is to him, and also Jane unpacking some of her stuff with the Chief. Who, and again, I feel like I keep realizing stuff everybody else is on the same page of, but that idea, because we've met those people that like really are trying to be nice, but they're not quite equipped to follow through with their intent. Mm-hmm. That's the Chief, which makes him asshole. Like seeing what he said to Jane about like, I'll be the dad for you. It's like, that's not fair. Mm-hmm. That's not fair because you can't be, and that's not, and I think it's a good reminder of Cliff of like, Cliff could be a father figure, but he's also just a friend. He's just a friend, and Karen tries to call that out by like saying like it'll never be what you want, which is you want it to be normal, and it's not gonna be. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
And that's what the Chief wants.
She doesn't mean it's okay, but I what I get from it is it's okay because you all are just doing the best you can with this insane situation you're in.
That's a great way to look at it because there are plenty of people that mean, hey, and it also you guys can look back at yourself with this. Like sometimes you can promise something and you can't follow through with it when it comes to personal relationships or basically anything in life. And mainly just try not to overpromise. Try not to overpromise, especially when it comes to people.
Do the best you can.
Chock full of superpowers. Yeah. They're ready to just explode at any moment.
And each one of them is kind of a nightmare. I will say, I don't think we saw Sun Daddy down there, but I would imagine Sun Daddy's kept deep, someplace safe.
What do you think could have manifested Sun Daddy? What trauma could have manifested?
See a little bit. That was another element. We see some of her memories, which also have figures in it that aren't her. And we see her once again being picked up by the asylum. It's like, I imagine maybe a particularly harrowing experience in the asylum, something where she really needed to act out to protect herself. Maybe that's a Sun Daddy situation.
Interesting.
The other big personality that spends a lot of time is Penny Farthing, who we saw going back to the Decreator debacle a few episodes back. Penny Farthing is the coward, the Hammerhead confronts stuff Penny Farthing does not.
Beep beep. Really quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Anna Lore. We actually got to work with her a few times on SourceFed, which is very cool. So shout out, you're getting cool stuff. You're doing stuff with Brendan Fraser and. Mainly Brendan Fraser and Diane, which is still cool. That was really cool just to see someone that we recognize in the episode, and I really liked her performance as well. I like that like you are scared. Actually, she's less scared because she's more confident in the underground. She's like, because this is where I'm supposed to be. I will go up there if I need to, but I don't like it. And also Jane doesn't like it. Yeah. And that does fit every personality that we've seen so far because that's why she keeps separating. That's why there are more divergences from the main core from Kay.
Yeah, she needs to find one that likes to be out there. Maybe Karen does, but we don't want her to be out there.
Yeah, we don't want. No, it's Karen wants to, but she's a little too eager.
A little too eager.
But overall, this was a really good episode for me because I was able to finally connect with Jane. Yeah. I understand that, like, Jane, by the end, she's like walking away and she's going straight to her room and she needs to be alone. Good, because she needs to process this, and that doesn't mean things are going to be like straight shooting. It's going to be easy for anyone moving forward. But I like that it's. Mainly, she feels a little bit more grounded, that we know who Jane is, that she is tied up to the biggest web of other characters possible in any show, I feel like. That's okay, though. And so I'm excited to see next episode if we're dealing with like what Cyborg and Rita have been doing. Great. If not, if that's just something that happened and we never deal with it for like seasons, great, too, where it's like, what happened there? It's like,
Like a bad guy shows up in season 3 and they're like, oh, we've dealt with this guy before. And they're like, when?
And they have like a really deep hurt. Like they go into like a pocket dimension where they've been there for like years and they come back. It's like, what was that? And it's like, it doesn't matter. Too complicated. I don't care. I'm happy regardless. Last episode, we got to learn a lot about Larry and how he views himself in the world. And with this, dealing with Jane and how she views herself in her world.
Yeah.
I love it. And Cliff got that too. The scene of him ripping off his own skin, I was like, this is really cool. Bananas.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. But what would you rate this episode? I gave it 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 9 as well. I think this is an important episode to help people connect more with Jane. I also think where they leave her, where it's not that she's fixed her problem. My interpretation is she's now at a point where she can, now that she knows the truth about where all these personalities came from, she can start unpacking it, because it looks like she's still dealing with some stuff.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's fair. And
I want to see more personalities. I want to see, even though the nun's real scary.
Oh my goodness!
I want the nun to come out just one time. Halloween episode.
There you go. This show needs a Halloween special once a year.
And a Christmas special. Yeah, we need Robotman's got to deliver presents.
But I get 100%. But I give it. I also really want to see them interact with, if not the Justice League, at least their CW shows. See what like Grant Gustin's Barry makes of this group of people.
Guess who wouldn't really handle it well? Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would very much enjoy that. But gang, let us know what you thought in the comments down below. This show's amazing. If you're in the States, get DC Universe. There's coupon codes all over the place for you to just watch the first couple episodes and get your feel for it. Also, they added like 20,000 new comics. We're not even sponsored by them. I'm just saying I want this show more, so I need you to watch it.
Go over there and check it out.
Go get it. Go on, get. And go check that out. But if you're international, I think the deal is with DC Universe, they're going to hit Netflix as soon as they're done streaming on the app. Yeah. So go ahead and watch that as well. Watch it as many times as possible so we can get more seasons. I need them. But DJ, any final thoughts?
Check me out at DJ Talks Trash. Check Sam out at Sam Basher. But go check out Might Be Awesome. It's our new channel where we're doing explainers and we're doing reviews and like explorations of movie. Like I think as of this video coming out, we'll have just done our Hellboy review.
Oh, so
check that out. Give it some love.
Is the new remake awesome? You could read some from my tone, but also go check out the video so you can find out more. But yeah, also follow Might Be Awesome at Might Be Social on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
And make sure you go to patreon.com so you can get Super TV Showdown. That's our review show of all superhero shows every Friday.
Yeah, and also we're doing special stuff for Game of Thrones. We're doing a regular Game of Thrones coverage, but we're also going to have guests on to answer your questions. The perfect thing about the Patreon is it's a way to connect with us more and us further connect with our audience more. So it's going to have more fan interaction. We're going to have guests that you're excited to see, that we know you've wanted to see us talk about Game of Thrones with. So go to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers because a lot of fun stuff is going on over
there. A lot of cool stuff. Don't miss out. And until next time, gang, stay hydrated.
Does it always have to be an H thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stay healthy. Scout's honor.
Stay hippopotamus.
There you go.